Any kid in those schools could tell you that men and women are not the same. Just like,
I mean, if you actually talk to the Gen Z, like kids or whatever, that like most of them, I'm pretty sure most of them are trans inclusive. So Generation Z extremely concerned about LGBTQ plus rights, survey says. Also, one of the reasons why the red wave broke when Gen Z voted. Gen Z's like, no, we're not voting for these red bigots. Sorry. Nearly 2/3 of Generation Z between 18 and 25 say they're worried about the state of LGBTQ plus rights in the U.S., according to new survey data from Taluna. The survey data comes during a record-breaking year for state legislative attacks against LGBTQ plus people. In a recent Gallup poll, more than 20% of Generation Z said they identified as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. So, yeah, Gen Z, this idea that the kids, they know the difference. Maybe they know the difference, but maybe you don't know the difference. Maybe you're still too fucking hung up on this bioessentialist gibberish.
they could tell you this cat lady isn't a cat.
I am a cat.
I have to disagree. I mean, she's here. She has cat ears. She is leopard spotted like a cat. She is identified as a cat. Therefore, I accept that she is a cat.
Meow, meow.
Oh, that's even further proof.
Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have.
You know, it's funny to me that people like this, they say stuff like this, you know, when it comes to trans people. Like, oh, reality exists. Biological essentialism, trust science, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, most of them are gourd believers, right? Most of them believe that God is all-knowing, all-wise, all-seeing, created the universe. And yet, when it comes to this trans issue, they want to act like reality is reality. You know, but then it's like, oh, but my imaginary friend in the sky, that's legit.
What was actually happening at this school district that made you have to dress up as a cat?
Nothing made her have to dress up as a cat, okay? Let's mind our language here a little bit.
This was a local school in my neighborhood where there was a member of the school board whose name is Paul Bixler. He is a man. He's very clearly a man. And the only thing he does to identify as a female is put lipstick on. He grew his hair out a little bit, and he wears his deceased wife's clothing to school, to sporting events, to fundraisers, to school events in front of the children.
Oh my God.
And believe it or not, he actually demands on being identified one of two ways, either Paul, which is a man's name, of course, or Miss Bixler. So
look at his face. Look at the dude's face. Oh, what's happened in this country? What's happened in this one great country, man? What happened?
It's very clear that he has a gender identity crisis. And not only does he appear in front of the children and insist that the children, you know, define him as a woman, but he sits on the board and he's making decisions for these children.
The funny thing is that if I was to just take this woman's picture and show this to a bunch of transphobes and be like, do you think this is a man or a woman? What do you think this is? And they'd a lot of them probably be like, oh, that's one of them trannies.
Point that I was trying to make as a cat was that, I mean, obviously, you can't just identify as whatever you want, and you can't demand that other people identify you as whatever you want. But someone with this kind of mental illness can enjoy that mental illness all they want in the comfort of their own home.
Even if we accept the logic of conservatives that, like, this is a mental illness, they're basically saying, like, yo, listen, keep your mental illness at home. Don't bring your mental illness out here in public. No one wants to see your mental illness. So even if being trans were a mental illness, their rhetoric about it would be almost even more fucked up. Or at least as fucked up as it already is. Because it's basically saying, like, leave that shit at home. Leave that mental illness that you can't control at home. It's okay to be schizophrenic at home, but don't be schizophrenic here in public. Like, what are you talking about? Mental illness doesn't have a fucking off switch, you stupid fuck. But being trans is not a mental illness anyway, so doesn't really matter.
When you put them in charge of children, we're talking about a new type of indoctrination, and that's what's really terrifying, is seeing these people.
Well, is it mental illness or is it an ideology that you can be indoctrinated into? Because those aren't the same thing. Schizophrenics don't go out recruiting people to become schizophrenic. Bipolar people don't go out and recruit people into being bipolar. So you're saying it's not a mental illness. Now you're saying it's like an idea that is subject to what you call social contagion, right? So that means it's not a mental illness. It's actually just an ideology. But actually, it's neither. It's an identity. It's a state of fucking being. Men and women, I know it's hard to believe, totally made up. It's not a real thing, folks. I'm sorry to tell you. It's not a real goddamn thing. We made it up. We made it the fuck up. Yeah, the being male sexed or female sexed, that's a real thing. There being certain biological differences between males and females, that's a real thing. But as far as like the social expression of your sex in the form of gender, that is a social imposition. That's something human beings made up. That's basically telling you, you have these genitalia, therefore you must conform to these social roles. Even if that's not a way of being that's actually conducive to who you are as a person. You have to still conform to it. That means you have to dress a certain way. You have to have certain social expectations placed upon you. You're expected to serve certain social functions. And there are certain things that you're not allowed to do that people with the different genitals are allowed to do. And it's all just a bunch of arbitrary bullshit that has no bearing on anything. It's something we completely made up. We took some facts about biology and then created a paradigm that they have to exist within. It'd be like if we were all at birth separated by eye color. You know, you have blue eyes, therefore you're one of the blueies. And that means you gotta, wear lederhosen and learn to play the harmonica, bitch. So get to it, motherfucker. And then when someone fucking says, hey, all of these distinctions between us are bullshit, people just point to, well, you got blue eyes. You can't deny it. Everyone can see your eyes are blue. Everyone can see your eyes are brown. Everyone can see your eyes are green. Everyone knows that this system is based on fucking rock solid reality. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah, the eye color distinction is real, but all of the bullshit you've built on it is fake. Human beings constructed a bunch of nonsense based on like primitive religious text and cultural edicts and, social evolution and so on and so forth. And we should be free, especially at this point in human history, to sweep that shit right the fuck away and say, no, not anymore. From now on, people are going to craft their own destiny based on the content of their character, not their genitalia or their skin tone or some arbitrary bullshit like that.
Yeah, if he has to grieve over his dead wife, he can grieve privately.
These people are such sociopathic, malignant, narcissist pieces of shit. Because if they genuinely think that this is part of mental illness and they're telling them, like, no, you got to hide your mental illness, that's fucked up. If they genuinely think it's a social contagion, the implications of that alone are just fucked up. If they genuinely think that this is like part of this, in their mind, dude's grieving process, and they're telling in their minds, once again, him not to grieve in that way, that is fucked up. Every fucking explanation they've gone down the list of to explain this woman's behavior, they've then proven that they're just insensitive fucking pricks. Because if this is genuinely just a dude grieving for his wife, he should be allowed to fucking do that however he fucking needs to do it. If this is genuinely just like a mental illness issue, then you can't expect someone to fucking hide their mental illness and just only be mentally ill at home. And if it's genuinely a social contagion issue, it's an ideology, then it's covered under free speech. So no matter what, you guys are insensitive fucking pricks, or you're assholes, or you're monsters, or you're scumbags.
Sharing his deceased wife's dress and putting on lipstick and growing your hair out and insisting you're a woman in front of, what grade is this precisely?
This is elementary school, so these are young, vulnerable minds, and the teachers, the rest of the school board are identifying him as mixed while he's talking in just the deepest manly voice that he was born with. And so I mean,
his eyes are blue. I mean, you can deny that he can sit here and be like, I don't want to be a bluey, but I mean, at the end of the day, your eyes are blue. You got to fucking play the harmonica, bitch.
See, these parents and these adults take no responsibility for the education of these kids and to teach them true right and wrong and true biology and true facts and science and truths is just so.
You should probably look at some of the science, some of what science has to say about transgender people, because it's not on your side. Spoiler. I mean, granted, science is not like some ubiquitous thing on this. You know, you can find dissenting voices within the scientific community, but the vast majority of, research that's been done, the vast majority of scientists who have spoken out on this, it seems to all be very supportive of trans identity.
So alarming that we have this in the school system.
Real quick, when you did this at this hearing, did people understand? How did they react?
This is a great story, actually. The next day at the gym, I saw one of the members of the school board, and he looked at me a little odd. I said, I'm sure you don't want to remember who I am. And he said, the cat. And I thought he would proceed to chew me out. And he said, you know what? Thank you so much for getting up there and saying what you said. Thank you for being bold enough to.
You know what? Thank you so much for besmirching my coworker there. Thank you so much for just like spouting off the bigotry that all of us have in our hearts, but just are afraid to say. You know what you are, cat lady? You're an American hero. I don't use the word hero lightly, but you, cat lady, are the greatest hero in all of American history.
Speak truth. I've been fighting this agenda. I've been fighting this teacher and this school board member. There are people on our side, and all it takes is just a few of us to stand up and speak truth and find those partners in crime, if you will, and then we really can unite together and fight back against this and save our children.
What kind of exercises does a cat do at the gym?
You down bad, buddy? Jesse Waters, you need, I mean, I thought I was out of line, but, seems like I'm not the only one with pussy on the brain, eh? So, what kind of exercises does a cat lady do at the gym? Do a lot of, like, glute stuff or, like,
Gosh, there's got to be something zingy I can say here. Lots of squats.
Oh, yeah. Squats, eh? Yeah, working on them glutes, right? Yeah. Maybe take a look. You see them glutes, maybe,
Litter box press, kitty nip presses,
All right, meow, meow. Thank you very much. Lindsey
Meow, meow,
Graham,
indeed.
not the senator.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here
Hey,
to
Sean Hannity.
subscribe to Fox News YouTube.
No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks, bud.
Be a man.